So after this, he gets a weapon cache in a Mercedes and ends up heading to Paris, where we have sort of like a penultimate showdown with a bunch of different operators. We get the knife fight with the Korean, the knife/umbrella fight with the Korean, where this is going to lead Court to potentially bleed out, and then like the convergence of like four more. What is it, like the Sri Lankans and the Saudi Arabians and a couple different countries' operatives are coming in, and like that was one of the scenes where I felt like Greaney was doing a really good job of maybe because I've been to Paris, I've been to Notre Dame, I've walked like that bridge, so like as he's describing it, I could see it in my head, and I thought he did really. Whereas like some other places, I felt like a little bit of the setting was could have been fleshed out a little bit more, but here he does a really good job of putting us in Paris and in that place.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. From the setting to the action, this was definitely one of the better written scenes in how it flowed. It was really good. I did ask myself through most of it, why the heck is he here? I know he was originally meeting up with somebody in Paris that was connected, but I was just kind of lost on. We know he had to go to Budapest to get the passports. It was very early on. He was on the run. Whatever. We know he had to go to Switzerland because of the weapons cache. He needed that. I get why he kind of had to go see Maurice, close business. Maurice does give him a gun, everything. But going this deep into Paris, after he already saw, I think he saw like 10 different watchers and had hoped none of them caught him. He's like, I know chances are one of them probably did, but it looks like they haven't so far. No one's reacting. I was just kind of confused. Sure, why'd you have to go to Paris? Why'd you have to spend so much time in Paris? And why you were in such high-trafficked areas downtown? Wouldn't you be in like a seedy outskirts kind of neighborhood? So I was a little confused by that, but I was glad the Korean assassin had an awesome payoff.
I think that's exactly why, because we've been getting these teases of this lone assassin, right? And
yes,
Greaney needed to sort of pay that off somehow. And one of the things Court does mention is, okay, every single one of my, like, why did I come here? Every single one of my stops have just been a failure. So it's sort of another, stop that he has to take place. We need this big action scene of all these operatives sort of coming together. But I would agree with you. I think he could have easily just gone from, taking his losses. He has a gun. He has a couple of different guns. He has money. He has a car. Let's make it to the chateau. And I guess he goes there because he's trying to get help, right? He's like, I can't take on this place by myself.
Which he ends up doing anyway.
Well, yeah, exactly. So it doesn't make sense. It's another one of the plot holes, but I don't know. What you lose in the plot hole, it makes up in the action, especially with the Korean. So I don't know. I'll take it.
I agree with you. It probably is the best hand-to-hand action scene, him fighting the Korean. And that pays off because the Korean has been hinted for a few chapters now, and that's been some really, really good build-up. So I wanted to see the two go mano-a-mano with no one else around. It was just kind of them for a few minutes. And so that worked. That really worked. I just didn't know why he was there, but I'll table that. Getting shot on and hobbling to the bridge on the Seine, were you getting kill shot vibes?
Yes, very much so. Especially because it's in Paris.
It's in Paris, but Mitch is shot. He crawls out onto the bridge, jumps into the river. He was trying to patch up his bullet wound. I think he did it underneath or at the side of the bridge. He was trying to patch himself up. And here we have the gray man who's stabbed, already been shot in the leg earlier, jumping into the Seine. Yeah, I thought it was cool how I just saw a little nod to that. And then I thought it was really neat how he evaded capture by grabbing onto the rungs of the boat, the ladder, off the side of the boat. So he went upstream when they were focusing their search downstream. I thought that was really unique little bait and switch.
Yeah, no, that was really cool. I guess Fitzroy now gets one more phone call to him, gets him in touch with his nurse. again, another like character that I didn't think needed to be there. I mean, I guess like he needs to be patched up somehow, so that had to be taken care of. And then we go to the sort of the final action scene at the chateau, and I don't want to say I was let down, but as I'm reading it, like the only reason why he's able to, sort of save the day is because the Nigerian again says that anyone who kills him gets a $20 million bonus. So that now pits the other operatives against each other, and so they start and to take out anyone in their path, right? So even Lloyd and the Belarusians who are guarding the chateau, like just take out everyone, get Gentry.
Yeah.
So like he actually doesn't do that much. I mean, he does some killing, but like most of the killing is being done by the other operatives, right? So I don't know. What did you think of the final, set piece?
Yeah, I think it was just pure chaos, and it was kind of cool.
No, it was
to see what happens when you have so many hired guns with so many different motivations and nationalities basically turning on one another. Like there's so many different incentives for different people. And I think actually I'm surprised you're maybe kind of let down here, because we've already had so much kick-ass action that I'm okay that this was the point of the book where I feel like things got more nuanced, because I don't think
it was more realistic, right? It was more realistic. I guess I was expecting Gentry to come in and just kill everyone because of just the way this book was going. But probably in actuality, this is exactly how something like this would happen. He would take advantage of, the scene and see that, all right, everyone's converging on one place. It's disorder. It's chaos. They're taking out each other. And so I'm going to use that to my advantage.
Yeah.
So it's actually more realistic. And maybe that's why I was a little bit let down, because we had already gone, we just kept going up and up and up and up and up in terms of ridiculousness that I just wanted him to be in kind of I'll save it for our movie pod. But like, I wanted that, one man wrecking ball coming
Rambo.
in,
You wanted
shooting
Rambo.
everything. I wanted Rambo. And, we kind of got it, but we kind of got Rambo light, I guess.
I've already had enough of that throughout the whole book. I didn't want just another rehashing of that. We've had so much.
True.
But no, I actually mean nuance in a slightly different way. So sure, maybe a bit more realistic, but the nuance of the different characters here are and their motivations is shining, where like, first off, Fitz can only get through to court because Claire steals the phone. She steals it from the Northern Irishman, and everyone knows that Fitzroy had worked in the UK and that part of the world. And so he kind of plays off this Northern Irishman's allegiance to him, which is not true, but it would be believable by Lloyd. And then there's another guy, the Scot, who's like, look, if the gray man's coming, and if he made it through all these teams already, I don't want a piece of this. I'm just a hired hand. And he ends up protecting Fitzroy and then protecting the gray men when he gets there and the girls. So I thought that was cool. And then there's a techie, right? There's a tech guy who's like, oh, hell no, like, the gray man's coming? Like, there's no way. Like, if he gets through, I'm toast. Even though I didn't do anything, I kind of just run a computer. So I just liked how, for the first time, I was getting into the mindsets and motivations of other characters beyond this surface level. We will destroy Court Gentry. We will kill the gray man. There was a little more nuance to who the characters were and what they were doing. And I think that was refreshing after the whole first book. Was the first 3/4 of the book was bad guys, kill gray man. Gray man, good guy, kill bad guys. That formula was kind of broken here. And then Justine. I mean, you might think she's just a write-off as that vet tech. Just needed to patch up his injuries and drive him in. But this is one of the times I think the dialogue really was a shining moment here. The way he's talking and convincing Justine to do this, and she's nervous the whole time, but she realizes she has to step up or innocent young girls will die. And he convinces her of that, and he convinces her to sew him up, even though he really literally passes out from all the pain as she's trying to operate on him
while driving.
While driving. Right. And it's just so funny when he's recounting all of his injuries. He just does a laundry list, which it It was Mark Greaney literally doubling down again, saying, I know how ridiculous this story has been. And he's telling this vet tech in a car. It's so funny, and it just hammers home the point of, if you take this book too seriously, you will lose, because you'll be worrying about it or thinking it's trash the whole time. Mark Greaney is literally here saying, be like Justine, just go for the ride, help out, play along, and you'll have a great time.
No, you're right. Maybe I'm more like what you were saying there. So
when he's listing all the injuries, man, it was just so funny because it just shows the utter
ridiculousness. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. But Jimmy Boy is on the way. Fitzroy does tell the girls, Jimmy Boy is on the way, right before he opens that door. And it's him. Remember from the limerick, the gray man lives.
Gray man lives. He lives. He saves the day. And so now I'm going to ask you that question again. What did you think of him letting off this, billionaire who literally had a bounty on his head 10 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Wanted him dead. And decides to go work for him. I don't know. For me, it'll be interesting. Maybe I'll reserve full judgment until I see how it goes. Because to me, what I was learning about Court through this entire thing, at least what I think he wouldn't allow Marc Laurent to stay alive. And even though he's going to go work for him, he's going to find a way to get justice. Or maybe I'm reading it wrong, but at least that's how I felt.
I was similarly ambivalent. So I agree.
It's obviously, you have it there to set up the next book. But
correct. I don't want to say anything fully until I read the next book. And part of me was like, this is fucking awesome that I now know where the Gray Man's going next. He's going to Madrid. He's going to kill Abu Bakr. Ultimately, Abu Bakr is the one who took out the hit on the Gray Man. The Lauren Group was really just executing the wishes of the Nigerian prince, king, whoever he was. The Lauren Group was really just the vehicle to do the dirty work and make the money off of it, to secure their contract. So I was kind of like, that's some bait he's dangling in front of him. Like, come work for us. You'll get to kill Abu Bakr. You go off to Madrid. I was like, hell yeah, let's go. Next book. But then in the back of my mind, I was like, I also just kind of want him to choke out Laurent right there and have a really gruesome final kill.
Right, that's what I wanted.
Because this guy's a bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what would Mitch Rapp have done?
No,
what would Mitch Rapp have done? He would have
shot Laurent, immediately. Yeah.
Yeah. He would have kneecapped him, said something about his family, said that he's out to get his family, and his last wishes are, I want you to think about that, and then pop him in the head.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you, and I think I also like the fact that, all right, we're setting up the next book. This is cool. I'm buying in. I'm ready. Sort of cliffhanger ending, but at the same time, I was like, I think this is out of character for the Gray Man a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. But is
maybe
it
not
work?
Because he obviously he left the CIA to then just work for Fitzroy's as that's where he built this Gray Man reputation. So. He's like, where else am I going to go? Well, someone's going to be looking out for me. And someone is going to eventually try to kill me again. So I need work.
Probably one of the few people for the time being who's going to give him work and not try to kill him right away.
Right.
Yeah. And then another part of me was like, I want Marc Laurent to be this figure, this kind of in the shadows background figure, and then you don't actually meet him, or Gray doesn't interact with him until book 4 or 5. I was also in the back of my mind hoping that was a long-term play. Who's the big boss? And so for him to just come face to face with Court here in a very undramatic way was a bit of a letdown. But again, I don't know. Is he going to be like his handler for the next however many books? I don't know.
I don't know either. Yeah.
We could just sound like idiots, to someone who read the series. They could be.
We could.
He could be the most important.
You guys
person.
Don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm not going to say anything yet. I want to see. I want to see what book 2 is all about.
All right. So one person we sort of have skirted around is Lloyd. I guess you can talk about Lloyd and we can talk about Regal at the same time. These two characters.
Yeah.
So in the end, Lloyd dies by the hand of Regal, right? He, essentially the Gray Man's going to die if it wasn't for Regal taking that shot from the window.
Yep.
What did you think of Lloyd? Straight up douchebag. And what did you think of Regal?
I think they were both really, really well planned out characters. The yin and the yang. And Lloyd this whole time is just a lawyer. So I'm not going to say much more about the movie, but keep that in mind. Lloyd is just a lawyer trying to save his own
He's
hide.
Supposed to be, someone who wants to play as an operative, but is not an operative, right?
Sure, he wants to pull the strings. He wants to use those people in that world, but really to his ends. But Regal, on the other hand, is the muscle. He's the operations guy. And I actually like this tension throughout the book where Regal immediately says, "You fool. You took Don Fitzroy? You literally are holding Don Fitzroy's family? Let them go immediately. Apologize now." Like, he knows how the game is played. And Regal is smart enough to say, these are people you don't want to cross. And if we truly are going to handle this like gentlemen, it's not I kidnap you, I threaten you, I blackmail you. Like, Regal knows how the operation game is played. He wants almost a level playing field to man up. So I like that tension between the two,
right,
where Lloyd really is just a fool. And it all does come to a head when they're in the room together. Lloyd pulls the gun on Regal. Court essentially saves Regal. And then outside, when Lloyd is about to win, Regal gets the shot. So I really thought the tension between the two and the development of the two as very different arms of the same body, the Laurent group, I thought that was played really well. And the two of them are probably the reason I'm going to have a really good bad guys or villain score on the scorecard.
Yeah, just when you were like discussing it and talking about it, I bumped the bad guys up a point because I think the villains in this novel are pretty interesting, and
yes,
we haven't really seen this like sort of. He sort of, I guess, him and Court work together, although Court can't remember him, so it's almost like he was a CIA operative dropout. He's a CIA wannabe who also had a law degree, so that's what he sort of fell back on. And he's not even good at that because he obviously messed up this contract. Yeah, so I like this this dumbass prick character.
Yep.
And then juxtapose that against this Regal guy who is like obviously, a top operative, someone who is a hunter, right? He has all these animals taxidermy on his wall. And really, while he is a killer, he has, some amount of decency, just like Gentry would, right? And treats Fitzroy nice. Thinks it was a dumb move to kidnap his family, right? So I thought them together, like them individually, were very interesting and compelling. And then when you put them together next to each other, it made them even better. So
yep, agreed. 5 out of 5 on the bad guys. But since we're on it,
yeah.
What do you think about the good guys then? Obviously, we got Court, awesome. But Fitzroy and some of the other people. Well, is there anybody else who's good? Let's be real. But Justine, this vet tech character, who else would be the good guys here?
I guess you got to throw in
Claire.
Out of like the good characters. You have Claire. You have Maurice.
The Scotsman in the end.
The Scotsman in the end. Yeah, I mean, I guess really what you're arguing is Court, like how much you like Court, and then how much you like Gentry, or
Sir Donald.
How much you like Fitzroy.
Yeah.
And I really like both those characters, so I gave a good guys a solid 4. Like I felt like maybe that'll change in the future, probably be higher once I get to know Court a little bit more, but I thought it was a solid, showing for the introductory book of a character.
Yeah, I'm with you. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I think, if I'm being honest, I like Sir Donald a little bit more than Court. If that's crazy to say, but I'm a sucker for these old timey, not quite mentor, but mentor type characters who have this wisdom and this air about them. And so I really liked him, and maybe it's also I really liked the voice actor. What'd you say, Jay Snyder? I really loved his voice for Fitzroy. So I went for a 4 out of 5 as well. And Claire, we haven't talked about her at all. Claire's an awesome character who thankfully in the movie is played up quite a bit and done really well.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
4 out of 5.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just go ahead and fill out the rest of our scorecard then, Mike. What do you give for action?
Action is 10 out of 10, and I think it's Mark Greaney's bread and butter. I think writing the action scenes is by far and away the number one thing from this book, and I'm going to presume the rest of his books. He is just killer at writing an action scene.
Yeah, action has got to be 10 out of 10.
Yep.
It's what makes this book amazing. It's what makes you want to keep reading because until the next outrageous scene. Yeah, it's almost like, he had this idea of, all right, I want to put him on a plane, he's going to jump out. I want to put him in a train station and he's going to live like this, crazy gunfight. I'm going to put him in Paris and he's going to get stabbed and he's going to, jump into the river and then let's flesh out the rest of the story sort of behind it,
All that in one book.
Yeah, and then, let's put him in this chateau heavily fortified and it's going to be one man against a million gunmen coming after him.
Let's put him in a
and
well.
He's going to survive, right?
In a well, he has to
I
blast
didn't
his way out of.
I didn't even bring that up. Yeah, let's put him in a trapdoor well, and he has to get out of that. So, yeah. Now I say that, and then I got to go to plot, which action is involved with plot, but we sort of separated the two. And I have to think kind of what I said, where let's have the action, and then we'll fill out the plot later. I think that's where. All of my negativity, I won't hash it out again here, is going to this score. So I gave it a 6. Is that a little harsh? Maybe. But I don't know. Maybe it's just the idea of the overarching Nigerian and why this whole event is even taking place was a little bit weak to me. Some of the other, why does he have to go to all these places? Why doesn't he just, once he has weapons, why doesn't he just go to the chateau?
Right.
So I dinged it there.
I think that's the proper ding. Is the action sequences were so good, but how and why they were strung together, I just don't know if the glue was there. So why is he going to Paris? Why is he going to this city? Why is he spending so much time in this city? If you really had to see these contacts and build a team, there would have been some side characters with him, or if he really had to get weapons,
right.
He wouldn't have just kind of happened upon them in the very end. So, yeah, I did go up to 7 out of 10. While I agree with everything you said, I do think it's kind of cool imagining if there was a hit this big and you wanted to hire every single country's best teams. I mean, it's kind of a cool thing. It's like, what's one of those TV shows where it's like a race against, what's a TV show where they're all racing to get somewhere?
Amazing Race?
The Amazing Race, right? It's like the Amazing Assassins, Kind of cool idea.
Right.
Hit so big and so prestigious that all these different countries and their intelligence services want to be in the know. Yeah, I thought that could be cool.
Maybe I should go higher on plot, and then I should take that point and put it into buy-in, in lower buy-in. Then maybe that's what I'm saying, is that the buy-in of this book and the believability of this book is, and also what the setting of what's getting me to potentially buy in and that this could possibly happen is even more, is the plot itself even more perplexing than the action that takes place? This idea that this company would go to this extent just to kill one guy to save a contract,
to get an oil contract. Yeah, essentially.
Especially when they know that the Gray, they built up this reputation from the very beginning that the Gray Man is untouchable, right? So,
yep. Yeah.
So I gave I guess I'm going to add a point back to plot, so a 7 for plot, and then I'm going to go 1 for buy, and then I lowered it from a 2 to a 1.
Yeah,
a little low, but
I went for a 1 out of 5 as well. And you know what salvaged that point is, I'm bought into the story in an entertainment capacity, so I felt like that part of buy-in was made up for in the action, getting a 10 out of 10, right? So I'm bought into the action being so compelling was already captured in our other scores, 10 out of 10 and 7 out of 10 for the plot. So because of that, I was willing to go down low. Ugh, Mark Greaney, people, sorry about this, but 1 out of 5. We've hashed it out. We talked about it. And in the end, it's actually probably okay that that's what's happening because it defines and sets this book apart. Like I said at the top,
right?
Last episode in part 1.
It's entertainment.
This book is pure entertainment. It's not realistic fiction, or it's not a Kyle Mills predicting what the next decade is going to look like. It's not Brad Thor trying to say, here's the important geopolitical chess pieces and maneuvers of world governments that could happen. No, it's pure. Like we've talked about thrillers being beach reads. This is it. This is like your typical take it to the beach, check out, don't think too hard about real world consequences. So 1 out of 5 on buy-in, but to be honest, that's not all that bad a thing.
Well, it's like we have to take points like somewhere, and so that's where it's going to take a hit, right?
Yeah.
Because we had these issues, right?
Yeah.
We did bad guys. We did good guys. So what about the setting?
Setting, I think we talked about it. The globe trotting was pretty cool. And again, glad they captured that in the movie.
That was definitely cool.
So I went 4 out of 5. I think each setting while I was there was really vibrantly described. And it was more the setting as it relates to the action. Brad Thor is more the setting because he wants to tell you about his favorite wines. And he wants to tell you about these great dishes he ate when he was, in Greece at this small town. But here, the setting is being described so well for the action. All of the settings that are described are done for the purpose of bringing you into the action. And that was done really successfully. So 4 out of 5.
Yeah, no, I concur on everything, and I also gave it a 4. I think that I love that we hop around all over the place. I love that, in some of the places we get a little bit more immersive than others, and they all serve a point. Like,
yeah,
maybe they don't all serve a point directly to the plot, but the notion that we would need to go from place to place, drives the plot forward, and I enjoyed that.
Yep. Unfortunately, we also got to talk about the covers, and I think The Gray Man has more covers.
It has a lot of covers.
And a lot of international
all the way to
ones.
O, Mike.
Yeah, yes. We went halfway through the alphabet.
Is this because of the movie?
I think a lot of these were published before the movie. So, I don't know. Yeah, we got freaking Polish, I want to say Japanese, Russian, Italian, German. There were a whole lot of international covers here. All right, let's start with the OG, though. What do you think about cover A? It's the original.
I mean, it's your typical Running Man. A lot of these are your standard Running Man cover.
A lot of Running Man. I
guess it gets the point. It's some sort of Eastern European. Maybe that's an alleyway in Paris. Could be. It's a decent cover.
Yeah,
I think my favorite cover actually is the movie cover with which has Ryan Gosling as the Gray Man. I don't know, I love the blending out from that. Either that or just the cover C, which I don't always love cover C on this pod.
You like cover C?
I don't mind cover C for some reason. I like the blue, and although we're never in London, right?
Dude,
he is in London
so
at the very beginning.
It's so boring.
I don't know. I like the blocking of that one. I like the letters.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry. I put cover C there on purpose because I was ready to rip on it.
That's funny. What is? Hold on. Down in cover M, that's the Tower Bridge. That's it. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I hate when they do that.
Yeah.
Were we ever at the Eiffel Tower? I guess they mentioned the Eiffel Tower, but we're nowhere near it. Notre Dame's nowhere near the Eiffel Tower.
Dude, I went down to a 2 out of 5. I went low on these covers, not because some of them are good, compositionally speaking. I actually think A is my favorite. Not a big fan of the Running Man, but the colors. There's dark background.
A is probably the best.
Yeah.
But I'm a sucker for Ryan Gosling. So
the Ryan Gosling, the movie one's pretty cool, how he's grayed out and blurring. But dude, we call this segment Judge a Cover by the Book. As soon as I saw Tower Bridge on, what language is that?
I don't even know.
I think that's the Russian one. And then Notre Dame in the Japanese one, the Eiffel Tower.
So he's right next to Notre Dame when he hops in the Seine. So that one actually makes sense.
Sure, he does say he goes on to the Ile-de-France. So
yeah,
it's in the area. Okay, but we have London in another one. And then look at Jay, the Italian one. He's on a dock with a fucking seagull or some shit, and there's a boat floating out there. What is, like, when does that happen?
Is that the barge that he... But that's definitely not Paris, though. Yeah.
What barge? Oh, no, because he's standing
barge,
straight up. That was when he was slashed.
Exactly.
He was hobbling. He jumps.
Right.
He just falls off the bridge. This dude is standing there on the dock, like, ready to go, fist balled. Like, what? Like, none of these things happen. None of these. Okay, G is the only one that actually looks like something from the book might actually be going on here. Some alleyway in a European city.
It's like A, but instead of running, he's walking because he's the gray man.
Because he's the gray man. All right, hold on. There's an elephant in the room. What do you think about that creepy face on cover B, man? That is rubbing me the wrong way in a lot of different capacities. I don't know how I feel about that.
If you look at it from afar, like at first you had him like kind of small, and I had to like zoom in to really look at him.
It's Phantom of the
Opera.
Opera.
It almost looks like a Phantom of the Opera, but then like, when you zoom in, you can actually see his pupil.
Yeah, I thought that was a mask. I was like, what are we going to, like a masked party over here or something?
Well, and they have below it, they have like a helicopter
over the ocean.
Like, no, that's
those mountains.
That's a mountain. Like
those are mountains.
Yeah, but it's going down. At no point is he. All right, if that was an airplane, he's over like the mountains in Iraq, but there's no like helicopter downing. I guess there is a helicopter, no, but not near a snowy mountain. No. Yeah, this is what happens when you have people who get like a short blurb and they're like, all right, make a cover based on this. You know, that's why I really appreciated what Brad said. He's like, yeah, I wanted to do something different this time. I actually sat down and we talked it out.
Yeah.
Like, and then you produce a banging ass cover.
Right. And full black. He said they wanted to do that with full black too, and that's my favorite all-time cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are all just generic covers.
These are generic covers. If I literally Google, buy a book cover or how do I get a book cover published, honestly, any one of these could come up if I just write action, thriller, suspense.
We have like a video game through. Is that like through a prison? Someone's running through. Like that looks like a cell. Like
an eye.
Yeah, it literally looks like that guy's bald. Yeah. This must be like the movie. What is it? The video game, The Assassins. Like a screenshot from that.
L. I don't know what language that is, but that looks. It just looks like a movie poster for like a really crappy low budget action film movie poster. Like L. Can't you see that as a movie poster for some just like budget film?
And same with K. It looks like what is that, GoldenEye? It's a ripoff of GoldenEye.
It does. What's with the dude's hair too in K? He's got the spiked top. Like what?
And they all have that Lee Child quote on it in different languages.
Unter Killer.
I gave it covers a 2. Yeah, that might be a little generous, but
yeah, I gave the covers a 2. All right, you got to tell me though. First, second, and third. It might be a little hard here, but give me your top
first
3.
is going to be A.
Yeah.
Second is going to be F, the movie cover. Third, probably H. He's walking into Paris, running into Paris.
This is a marathon? What's he doing? Just running down a street? What is it, a 26 miler?
He's pretty far away from the Eiffel Tower too. All right, what are your top ones?
Let me put it this way. I'm glad you didn't say cover C. I'm glad you walked back on that one. Took a breath.
Yeah, I'm sort of just walking away from that comment.
The helicopter, I don't know, Big Ben, like what are we doing here? All right. I feel like there are a few times my New York accent comes out, and it's when I'm drunk, I'm angry, or when we're talking about covers.
Yeah, this is true.
And you've seen the first 2 on the golf course plenty of times, but the third one,
all the time,
all the time.
Yes.
Anytime I'm really amped up or passionate about something, All right, this is going to come as a shock to you. Even though the hair and the flip, I'm going with K as third place.
What?
Yeah.
All right, okay. The GoldenEye ripoff is your third place. Okay.
Yes,
what's number 2?
because the Gray Man is just so over the top ridiculous. I could see it being like a James Bond or Mission Impossible type series in the long run. So, and it's a nice simple cover. And look at the text in red against the black silhouette. Yeah, I kind of like how that's done. All right, second place. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with you, the movie cover. I think it was well done.
Okay.
Yeah, well done. I think all of Netflix's marketing actually around the film has been pretty good. And the OG, I'm going with A. Yeah, it's not great, but it does the job. It holds it down, and pretty cool. I like the black and the blue color combination.
All right.
So, Chris, what does that mean for your final score now that we've judged a cover by the book? Oh, you got to tell me your winner, your free space. What gets a 5 out of 5?
All right, so my 5 out of 5, my winner of the book has got to be the airplane scene. Like, just that one scene is so ridiculous. It kickstarts the book. We begin to learn who Gentry is. I loved it. I'm so happy they made it into the movie and made it in the movie like accurately. So yeah, that's my winner. What's yours, Mike?
I want to say the action, but that's already been taken. So I think I'm going to say Sir Donald. I like the gravitas of this character. I love how he uses Claire because he knows her so well, and how she sneaks around the house. It's kind of getting transfer of power vibes, actually. Now that I think about Claire sneaking through the house, looking for these passageways,
right.
Stealing the phone out of the guy's coat. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I kind of enjoyed the Fitzroy family, whether they were at the chateau or what beforehand, just who they were and how Court was willing to do anything for them. So I thought the relationships between the Fitzroys and Court was really cool.
Okay. What's your final score, Mike?
That's a 38 out of 50. Look at that. We actually ended up.
Oh, we tied.
With the exact same scores. Yeah. Solid 38.
All right. Well, that's the book. That's a good score. Yeah, not the top, but definitely not the bottom.
Right.
A good first novel. I think we should revisit one the next book. What is it called?
Although first, to tell the folks what we're doing, we're going to cover the movie, as I said, next week with our friends, the Comm Majors movie review podcast. And we are hoping to get back to the James Reese series. We are going to cover True Believer and Savage Son as well, probably around August. And we're going to keep the James Reese series going as well.
Okay. Yeah, no, the next one's called On Target. So
On Target, yep.
Maybe he's got to get Abu Bakr. Maybe that's the target.
I hope they pick up. If that's how they close this book, I'm really hoping, that's what he jumps into in the next one.
All right. Well, that's the book. Next time, like Mike said, we're going to be breaking down the movie. We always have to thank our patrons, including our special operator, Sherry F., our special agents, Daryl, Kevin, George, Matt, Dawn, Dennis, Peggy, Catherine, Ray, Bridget, Jeff, and Mark. Please subscribe, rate, and review using your favorite podcasting platform. You can find us at thrillerpod.com or using Twitter and Instagram at thrillerpodcast. And as always, Jimmy Boy is on his way.